Good evening. I would like to thank Executive Director Scott One, NSDA President Pam Wyckoff, and NSDA Vice President Dr. Tommy Lindsay Jr. for giving me an opportunity to share some words with you tonight. A few weeks ago, Mr. C. Ryan Joyce reached out to a number of us because he was concerned about how you, the students, coaches, and families of this association were dealing with the coronavirus. Our lives had been completely disrupted. Many of you were traveling to NSDA district qualifying tournaments. You were looking forward to a number of end of the year activities, and many of those were not going to happen, certainly not in the way that you had originally anticipated. And so we thought, what can we do to help? None of us have medical degree. None of us had the ability to be in a lab looking for a vaccine for the virus. And we certainly weren't able to run around and greet and hug all of the people in this organization that we love, that we knew were disappointed. And so we did the only thing that we knew how to do: communicate. I was humbled that C. Ryan Joyce asked me to join in with some of the most talented, creative, and inspiring people that this activity has known. And so we put together a program which is entitled You Are Not Alone. It was simply our way of saying, we understand, we acknowledge, we are here for you, we care, and things will get better. Personally, it was important for me to be part of that. You see, I am part of a community that has been disproportionately affected by the coronavirus. A community in the geographic sense, in that New Orleans was one of the cities that was hit the hardest. And I know that there are people out there who are listening at this moment who live in cities that were also dramatically impacted. But then I'm also African American. And the numbers are clear that African Americans have been disproportionately impacted by this virus. Before C. Ryan Joyce called, I lost a family member. I lost my pastor, and I was fearful. But being part of this project gave me an opportunity to shift from being a person that was in fear that something would happen to me to being someone who was, and I have no other word for it, ministering to others. And it was helpful. And so we finished this project. It was being edited. And I feel okay speaking for the group and saying that we felt good about the work that we had done. I think you'll like it when you see it in a few minutes. But after it was put to bed, something else happened. George Floyd happened. And there I was personally, an African American man in America who was witnessing yet another African American man dying at the hands of the very people whose mission it is to protect us, the police. It baffles me that in this day and age, that our law enforcement officers at times choose to run afoul of constitutional policing and ignore the dignity and humanity of Black citizens. It's been a hurtful time. I had an opportunity to work with my colleagues on the board of directors on a statement about the affairs of the day. And I've been at that table now for about 2 years. And I am humbled to have been part of some important work, including an equity statement that demonstrated our commitment to making certain that everyone has an opportunity to enjoy the benefits of this activity. But that night, when we met and were going through the process of putting together a statement about this, it was important for us to find exactly the right words, that we would be deliberate, that we would be compassionate, that we would be caring, that we would be hopeful for you. And I will say to you that in all of the years I have been connected to this association, I have never been more proud to be a member than when we completed that work. And I walked away from that hopeful about this community because this community cares. I've had conversations with so many of you, and we've run the gamut of emotions together. We've cried together. We've been angry together. We've been frightened together. But we've been together. And so I went from being part of a project, the one you're going to see, where we were hoping to lift you up, to now being in a situation where you're lifting us up. Specifically, you're lifting me up. Because never before has the light shone so brightly for me on what it means for me to be a Black man in America. And I'm reminded of something that happened on the stage in Dallas in 2015. I had the opportunity to work with a young man named Daniel Williams. And Daniel did a piece entitled "Not a Genuine Black Man." And in the midst of this piece, he says,
I am a genuine Black man because I am resilient.
And that was an important message for me to be reminded of. And I want tonight, for all of the Black men that are under the sound of my voice, I want you to think of those words, that we are genuine Black men because we are resilient. But I'm also thinking about, ironically, 4 years later on that same stage in Dallas. Last year, we had an opportunity to honor Dr. Thomas Freeman, who we lost last week. And lost is probably not the right word, because someone of his magnitude you never really ever lose because of the impact that he has had. But Dr. Freeman challenged the young people there, and he said,
"You leave here, young people, challenged by what you have already heard, that our destiny is now in your hands.
And that you have the responsibility to lift us up from the place that we are." How prophetic. That was less than a year ago. And so tonight I am hopeful. And I am hopeful because of you. Hopeful because in a world that sometimes doesn't have answers and doesn't know where to go or which direction to turn, you know how to do it because you've been doing it. And you know how to have tough conversations about tough issues. Sometimes you do it through delivering fiery oratory. And sometimes you do it by giving impassioned, dramatic performances. And sometimes you do it through spirited debates. But you do it. And there has never been a more important time than now for you to do it. And as one of those resilient Black men in America who is subject to all of the same things that other Black men are, I say thank you. Thank you for making the sacrifice, and thank you for making the commitment to having your voice be an important part of this discourse. And so enjoy the show that you're about to see. We hope that it uplifts you and brings you a little joy. And on behalf of the men and women who put it together, and on behalf of the National Speech and Debate Association, we love you.
Past and present speech and debate coaches from across the country have created a message by performing a collection of literature for their students. Students who are struggling to perform and speak their own messages right now. These coaches want to remind all of their students that we will make it through this pandemic, that they aren't alone right now, and that they need to keep using their voices to make the world a better place.
Another day in lockdown as panic grips the nation.
Another day of quarantine and total isolation.
Thank God I have a window. Thank God I have a view.
Across the street, another window. And in that window is you.
Hold on there, please. Can you hold it down in there? I'm trying to do a video in the studio. What? My accountant called? Ooh, you could tell him to kiss my assets because I have nothing left. Oh, Lord. This too shall pass, as all things will. If the virus don't kill us, staying at home will. Please get us back to school. Please get us back to work. And get us out of the gosh dang house, or somebody's gonna get hurt.
Good morning. This is an email to let you know that we will be sending another email this afternoon. That email will contain a special passcode for your child's Zoom meetings. The first Zoom meeting your child will have is at 6:53 a.m. this morning, and the following will be at 10:07 a.m. These times have been specifically formulated so that we don't overuse our servers. So please, 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 don't attempt to join at 10 a.m., a nice round number that you will more likely remember, or at 8 a.m., when your child will more likely be awake. Thank you.
Oh, tell me the one about the virus again, then I'll go to bed.
But my boy, you're growing weary. Sleepy thoughts about your head.
Please, that's one of my favorites. I promise, just once more.
Okay, snuggle down. My boy, though I know you know full well. The story starts before, then in a world
I once would dwell.
It was a world of waste
and wonder,
of poverty and plenty. Back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. We'd always had our wants, but now it grew so quick.
You could have anything you dreamed of.
In a day or with a click. We noticed families had stopped talking. Well, that's not to say they never spoke, but
the meaning must have melted.
And the work-life balance broke. And the children's eyes grew square. And
Every toddler had a phone.
they filled it out in perfections, but amidst the noise,
They felt alone.
The only person I've touched in a week is my 2-year-old daughter. Every selfie I take is a photograph of me trying to inhale her. The streets outside are empty. The ambulance sirens constant. Sunshine and insult. Stores have signs in their windows that look lifted from the apocalypse films I loved back when I thought they were a metaphor rather than prophecy.
This is a Class 1 emergency. All civilian traffic is barred from the streets and highways. Stay in your homes.
Already, hospital facilities have begun to crack under the strain, and civil defense authorities state that the situation is much the same across the entire country.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this message. Martial law is now nationwide. Our fellow countrymen are dying. The very foundations of civilization are beginning to crumble.
Due to the spread of COVID-19, we are indefinitely closed. I haven't left the apartment in 4 days. Ever since I became symptomatic.
The hallmarks of an educational career are as set in stone as the Ten Commandments. Rites of passage are predictable from playground to playground, from your first bully to your first crush, your first A to your first dance. For the class of 2020, your educational career has had a different set of milestones. As the Washington Post explains, many of you were born in the immediate aftermath of the Twin Towers falling on September 11th. On the steps of pre-K, Hurricane Katrina flooded the streets of New Orleans and displaced 100,000 of your classmates. As you ended your elementary school career, a gunman entered Sandy Hook and took the lives of 20 of your classmates. And as you walked the halls as high school sophomores, another 14 were taken at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. As we approach your final milestones, this pandemic has robbed you of the most iconic rites of passage: prom, graduation. And for those of you who have dedicated your young adulthood to this activity, many of you have lost your state tournaments, the Tournament of Champions and NSDA Nationals. But while your steps have been dogged by pain and loss, your story is far more than tragedy. Our world will remember the class of 2020 as the innovators, the advocates, the powerful. As your teachers, we see your power every day in the classroom and every weekend when you step onto stages all over the country. You are courageous, brilliant, and so much more than the tragedies you have suffered. So we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge your legacy and impact on this activity and speak to the unique circumstances you face during this time of digital speech and debate. We see you. We celebrate you. So, using the literature,
A COVID Song by David Lindsay Aber.
A COVID-19 poem penned by the 9 to 5 girl herself, Dolly Parton.
Emails from my children's school before 8 a.m. during the COVID-19 crisis by Anna Royal.
The Great Realization by Thomas Roberts.
Since I Became Symptomatic by Leslie Jameson.
Hello from the Inside
by Chris Mann.
100 Little Things That Bring Us Joy During the Coronavirus Pandemic by USA Today.
Cuando Estoy Solo by David Lindsay Aber.
The Places We Are Not
by Sarah Kay.
And the song, You Will Be Found, from the Broadway musical Dear Evan Hansen.
Oprah challenged you to be the class that commenced a more just world. You have had that mission all of your lives, and you continue to use your collective voice to shout back at the injustice and pain in the world. A program. You are not alone.
Hello.
it's me.
I'm in Minnesota dreaming about going out to eat.
Just a burger with cheese.
Or a shaken margarita.
Baby back ribs from Chili's.
100 things that bring us joy during the coronavirus pandemic. Nabbing a pack of toilet paper at the grocery store. Yes. Number 2, a toy that keeps your kid entertained for longer than 5 minutes. Number 3, a toy that keeps your dog entertained for longer than 5 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
I am waving out to neighbors who I used to like to see.
When we were outside and free.
Is there something else to watch besides the news and Finding Dory?
The social distance between us.
And I am freaking out.
It's awful. This whole thing. It's so scary. People are upset. They don't like having to stay at home, but that's just that you got to keep your distance. That's the thing. And you can't really interact with anyone anymore. Which I don't really mind that part. and I don't want this to come out the wrong way. In fact, I quite enjoy that part, the not being around people part, because I don't really like people.
From my window one afternoon, I see 4 people walking arm in arm. And, there's something pointed about their joviality, their casual touch, like screw you for telling us we can't. And I want to yell down at them, you can't. If I had to give this up, you should have to give this up too. I haven't touched another adult in 9 days, but who's counting? When I found out I was sick, I posted a sign for my neighbors downstairs, warning them.
I text a friend.
Where are you?
Which is code for
Please tell me these new deaths
are not yours this time.
If I scroll up, I'll see the same text she sent me in January.
When I was in lockdown.
I cannot help but know the words.
Are you okay is the hook.
Are you okay is the code for
we are not okay.
Number 51, cooking something new. Number 52, seeing how happy your dog is to have you home 24/7. Number 53, 2 words, TikTok.
What is going on inside their head?
My cell phone. Ooh, you lucky I don't wanna be famous.
No, okay, you have 3 dogs and someone forcibly takes away 2 of them. Now how many do you have?
3 and a dead body.
I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy.
Wipe it down. And she didn't have a mask on.
and she was touching everything and reading it and putting it back with her nasty, dirty hands. I'm like, come on, Karen, follow the rules, Karen.
Get this. I have been dancing. Maybe dancing is too generous of a word. I've been moving through the apartment, doing what I consider to be dance-like gestures. Also, I'm having the groceries delivered. The guy, he shows up in a mask and gloves, and he puts the groceries on the doorstep, and he rings the doorbell, and he runs away. I don't have to speak to anyone. It's wonderful.
These days, I usually dream about nice dinner parties I wasn't invited to. Romanticizing other people's quarantines teaches me what I've already been taught, but I'll never learn, which is that there are so many ways to be lonely besides the particular way that I am lonely.
But please remind me you are breathing. Back home, the black men and women that I love look into mirrors and wonder if they are loose teeth in the mouth of an impatient God. Are you okay? I text. Impotent. Please remind me that you are still breathing. I am scared is simply not a good enough reason to not get out of bed. The world is falling apart is not good enough either. So I asked my mother if getting older means one wound after another until we are a collection of hurt. She insists no. Sometimes somebody gets married or has a baby.
When I wake in the middle of the night with my heart pounding and my sheets soaked with sweat that must be full of virus. So, the only way that I can do any of this is to sit with her, my baby on the floor, and give her a pen and a notebook of her own so she can scribble beside me.
Just to be clear, I haven't turned into a complete hermit. I do lean out the window every night at 7, like everyone else, and I bang on a pot, and I cheer on the doctors and the nurses and the first responders because what they're doing is heroic, obviously, and selfless, and God bless them for what they do. So, of course, I want to support them. Come with me. We'll do it together. Come on.
Number 90. Bluetooth headphones that attach to my kid's tablet. The Wiggles? They're great. But I just can't anymore. Yeah.
Number 91. Warm, crusty bread.
Oh. Bet you didn't cook yourself, but still pretty good.
Number 92, putting wine in a to-go cup for my evening stroll.
My always smiling grocery store star's YouTube channel, Michael's Best Life Ever.
Number 94. Waking up and realizing that feeling healthy is the greatest gift.
Number 95. Getting a working thermometer delivered prime.
Number 96. When you're looking through your cupboard for a snack and you discover the peanut butter chocolate covered almonds that survived your snack patrol.
Number 97. Waking up and realizing that feeling healthy is the greatest gift.
Planning a surprise Zoom birthday party for my mom with relatives around the globe.
Number 99. Making a donation to a mutual fund.
And number 100. Hugging your kid, your spouse, your roommate, whoever you are with. Right? Yeah.
And so when we found a cure, and we're allowed to go outside, we all preferred the world we found to the one we left behind. Old habits became extinct.
And they made way for the new.
And every simple act of kindness now was given its due.
But why did it take a virus to bring the people together?
Well, sometimes you have to get sick, my boy.
Before you can feel better.
Now, lay down and dream of tomorrow.
And all the things we can do.
Who knows if you dream hard enough? Some of them may come true. We call it the Great Realization. And yes, since then there have been many. But this is the story of how it all started.
And why hindsight's 2020.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. But when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, you'll reach up and rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found.